people who do any work for Scout. Um, but neither one of them had experienced this.
That's
Or if
crazy,
they
man.
have, they're keeping it really, really hush hush. But normally, most of the guys and by guys I mean ladies and gentlemen, most of them, if someone's not paying them, they usually ask, what I think about that. Which my opinion is, you should always be paid according to your contract on the day it's supposed to be paid, in the method by which it's supposed to be conveyed, and in real money.
Real money. Phil
No
Leon.
exposure bucks. Exposure bucks doesn't work. I went into the grocery store. I said, "Hey, I got these exposure bucks." They said, "Get the fuck out."
Well, Phil, let's bring in Nita as well. She can sit in on this one. Then we'll go to the big story. But Phil, let me ask you: have you heard anything about Scout Comics not paying their creators? Have you heard anything on
Only
that?
from what I've read in that article.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Nita? Welcome to the show.
Hey dudes, what's up? I'm trying
Hey,
to get in
time.
here and not fuck everything up. All
No, you're
right.
good. You're
Okay.
good.
All
Hello.
right, there we go.
Nita, have you heard this Scouts Comics thing?
Oh yeah, dude, I shared that shit out this morning because
That's-
that's shady as fuck. That is the one thing I cannot stand. That is my biggest pet peeve is when artists are not getting paid.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just paid my artist. Say, like, my artist gave me 3 pages today, and I said, great, here's payment for 3 pages. I don't
three
hire anyone
ramen.
if I don't have the money in the bank to honor my obligation. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As it should be.
That's it, man. So let's take a look at this. We'll see what's going on. Something's going on at Scout Comics. You think?
Shenanigans, I say.
Because I heard
Dude.
about this from a creator on Twitter. One of their creators was bitching about it, and that's where I first heard it. Freelance creators who have worked for the company best known for comic publishing has been speaking out over the past few days about severe delays in getting paid. And in some cases, delays even getting a response from people within the company. Scout Comics, which is based in South Florida underneath its full name Scout Comics and Entertainment Holdings Incorporated, has responded to those concerns by admitting miscommunication, missteps, and that they quote unquote dropped the ball. But this is already trying to douse public interest in this ongoing issue. Yeah, if you're not paying your dudes, that is clearly dropping the ball. You know what I mean?
That's not a misunderstanding or miscommunication either.
No, that's
Like
Yeah.
we don't have the money. So
nobody goes and takes a job on the assumption they're not going to be paid.
this is it, man.
And then getting ghosted.
Yeah, and the ghosting, that's the biggest bullshit of it all.
Well, let's go with this. The first clue that something was amiss at Scout Comics came from Jarrett Lujan. I hope I said your name right. The writer of the All the Devils Are Here comic one-shot, which raised over $8,000 on Kickstarter in 2021. Good for you, brother. And was subsequently published by Scout in April of 2023. See, here's the thing. Before we even get into this, right? Scout Comics was one of the few publishers that would, take on someone who made something from Kickstarter and give them a spot on the shelf, much like Antarctic Press does for us. And so it's sad to see that, a company that would take a chance on some crowdfunding books go down this road of, not paying their guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't make it enticing to want to go with a publisher when you see this stuff happen,
Mm-hmm.
He says, the creator says that the publisher was withheld money for over a year and won't answer emails. I spoke with the editorial director and he implied that we be blacklisted for complaining, Lujan wrote on February 28th. That's what I read, yeah. Referring to Scout's Andrea Lorenzo Molinari, who also writes comics for the publisher. The CEO came in acting like he helped, and now he's ghosting us too. So if it acts like that at the top, everything else sucks. So I want to go back to that name, Andrea. I know him. He almost published me when he was working for Caliber Comics. He was going to publish the old Nyobi, okay? And the deal was that he wanted them all together in a trade because that's what Caliber Comics at that time primarily did, was trade paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, you're basically going to make nothing doing this. You know what I mean? He says, very few books, sell off the racks, especially with Caliber, because they're a small, very small company. And I elected not to do it, but he was interested. And I interviewed him a few times during my early sort of start in doing comic book YouTube, when I was interviewing guys like Tyler and Andrea and, cats like that who were around 8-9 years ago. He was doing a book called The Shepherd, if people remember, you know what I mean?
Still is.
Still is, right? So I did not know that he had a position at Scout Comics. Nita, did you know anything about that?
I knew he was working for Scout. We interviewed him not all that long ago. Well, about a year ago.
So I really hope he's not too much involved in this because I found him to be a great guy.
I just saved the Shepherd actually on Kickstarter.
There you go.
It's in the saved list, so.
But we'll see what's being said, now that I know he's involved in somehow, he's on my friends list. I can see if he wants to give a comment on this at some point. But you probably smarter not to. Scout Comics Entertainment Holding CEO is Brendan Deneen, a prolific writer of comics, prose, and screenplays, who at the same time served as an executive for various companies, including Dimension Films, the Weinstein Company, Scott Rudin Productions, and Macmillan. He broke into entertainment as an agent for the William Morris Agency. Pop first reached out to him and got this response. So we're going to read the response. We are talking to Jared and currently reaching for an amicable solution. He tells Pop first, any creator with questions or concerns is always free to reach out to me directly and we'll work with them to rectify any outstanding issues. According to Lujan, All the Devils Are Here was profitable in the single statement about book sales he had received, but he hasn't received any money or any further statements in some time. That led to him asking Scout in January 2024 that they cancel their publishing contract in order to move past the money that is owed, but did not receive a response at the time. So this guy's like, you know what? I'm not getting paid. I'm probably never getting paid. Can we just please end the contract so I can take my shit and do what I want? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's at the point where that guy was. The thought about giving money had already left him. You know what I mean? That's how long he's been sort of dicked around for, at least according to him. His public statements about the issues with Scout Comics Entertainment Holdings led to other creators in similar situations speak out. Matthew Ehrman, co-creator of Scout Comics hit series Long Lost with Lisa Sturl, states it is no longer a Scout Comics title as of today, as we mutually agreed to part ways and terminate the publishing contract. Long Lost was published in 2017 and success prompted a sequel in 2018, plus multiple collected editions. Artist Christina DeBerry tweeted that he and Christian DeBerry, tweeted that he and his collaborators aborted plans for 2 creator-owned series at Scout, Tales Told in Tenchi Horror and Providence of the Secrets, due to similar issues. The first issues were both were published in 2021 by Scout, with plans for both originally announced and planned to have future series. Over 2 years ago, myself, the creators on a few titles we did, went through this with them too, says Christian. We were met with bullshit threats, lies, and now currently paying off money owed. They're the biggest scams going in terms of a publisher.
Ooh. Wow.
I can tell you this, in regards to dealing with Antarctic, they've been nothing but cordial to me. They have paid me what we've agreed upon. There's never been any issues. And when you do have concerns, they'll answer you quickly.
Yeah, dude, Ben's been doing this forever, though.
Well, I'm not just talking about Ben. Ben's not the only guy over there.
Well,
you know
no,
what I mean?
for sure. But they've got their shit together and have had it together for many years.
Yeah.
Whereas it looks to me like Scout was running around collecting decent funding Kickstarter guys, and they should have just let them be because they were making more money on Kickstarter.
This is it. Well, I mean, the plan has always been do Kickstarter first, and then you can take your book elsewhere after you get your Kickstarter money, right? Christian didn't specify what threats were from Scout Comics, but if true, they would be similar to the threats of blacklisting Lujan, alleged Scout Comics editorial director Andrea implied after voicing concerns about payment. Andrea, I don't know if you're out there listening. I don't know if you listen to this show or not. But brother, please, 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 please fix this. That's what I'm going to say to you. Fix it.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want to have to do a video where I got to complain about you. You know what I mean? Like, please just go and fix it. Scout Comics refused to cancel contracts and willingly sat on stock, refusing to sell it, and even removed it from the store. So bizarre. None of them know what they are doing. Tegan goes on to allege that Scout Comics offered to terminate their publishing contract only if the creators paid the publisher $75,000 to cover costs of a huge.
Fuck?
Yeah. Well, they did an overprint without asking the dude, I guess.
I don't give a fuck. You don't hold somebody's IP hostage,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck
Wells
that.
Thomas, the writer of the 2023 Scout Comics one-shot Mechaton, says that the publisher representative told him that the comic haven't been profitable for the company and they stopped responding to his attempts to reach out 5 months ago. Why are you not communicating with these curators? They were good enough when you wanted their book, when you agreed to publish them, and now you hide, assuming this is true. We got a sales report explaining that the book hasn't made its money back. We also haven't got any real communication since September, despite repeated attempts to reach out, says Thompson. Honestly, glad to know it's just not us. Yeah, see, here's the thing about social media, you know. Before, companies used to be able to do shady shit to people, right? And the only way you would really know is if you knew that person, you know, directly, or maybe you hear something secondhand. But now with social media, that just gets thrown out there in a matter of seconds, you know.
Right? I got several DMs after I shared this post today.
Oh, I bet, man. Were any of them like, you shouldn't be talking about Scout Comics like this?
Oh, well, of course, I got one fucking threat. You know, who are you to be Brad Mount? Like, man, shut up. I'm just sharing the news. That's
Just
all I was
reporting the
doing.
news.
That's all I did, and that's my right as media, whatever.
Yeah,
But
you don't like the news, don't make it.
right, like, and there were several people who asked not to be named who have had issues with Scout in the past.
Right.
A couple are actually on some of the posts I shared, so you can actually see them, but the ones in the DMs asked to remain anonymous.
Yeah, man. They go on to say that concerns about Scout can be tracked back to 4 years ago, as writer behind the well-received Scout Comics title Grit also stepped away, saying issues with the company led him to terminate the series and disassociate with the company. If you were curious about why we opted to call it quits on Grit, here you go, says writer Brian Wickman, referring to Lujan's issues with Scout. Michael Lagasse, writer of the 2019 Scout Comics The Forever Map, says he is still happy and still doing business with Scout. The 2019 series was collected in 2020 and went to second printing in 2023. Now, what's interesting here is, and we're just going to take a break for this for a second. You know, we're just going to, sort of process this for a second, and then we're going to read, because apparently Scout makes a public response. Okay, but before we get into that, I never heard issues with Scout up until a few days ago. I assumed that they were a company on the up and up. You know, I've ran into a few creators across the scene, whether we get along or not, that have done business with them or is still currently doing business with them. And as far as I knew, there was no problems. What were some of the things you've been hearing, Nita?
I've heard rumors of non-payment or broken promises more than anything, but never anything that I could come public with proof, and
Right.
I'm not the type of person who's going to come forward on spec. This is not spec if Scout is responding publicly.
Well, let's see what they say then, unless if Phil or Sam, you want to input, or anyone else.
Well, I just hope that everybody's all right and not like sick or in the hospital and not able to respond. Or
No, they keep wanting to say this is like the internal miscommunications bullshit. No, dude, when you owe somebody money, that's not a miscommunication. Nobody's running from you when you're trying to pay them.
This is it, man. Phil, got anything?
No. Well, I think they mentioned about getting reports back on sales and stuff and getting lack of that back to them too. Something to that effect.
Yeah. Sam?
Well, playing on what Phil was calling up, I think that there are some more questions that come up with regard to what were the contract specifications. Was there an advance on the individual books that had to be earned out? I mean, there's a lot of questions on what the exact nature of the payment structure was, that you can see how these allegations of non-payment are founded.
Right.
Because there's a few different ways that people can get paid in these instances, and one of the things that folks will sometimes do is they'll take like an initial advance on sales, and it's usually something really small. But the problem is that comics have such a small dollar margin when you're wholesaling out through the direct market that it takes a lot of sales, even to make $1,000 back.
Yeah.
So
I know. Well, it takes about 1,500 copies.
or
Well, it looks like they're-
more.
Wow.
Looks like
Or
they're
more.
big into like subscription boxes and things like
Yeah.
that, right? Like they
And,
got a lot
and
of.
even then, I mean, you're talking about an even smaller margin per book. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that could be at play here. I noticed that Scout is only really addressing the ghosting issue, which makes sense from both a legal perspective with regard to how you're going to handle allegations of non-payment, which is essentially, a contract dispute subject to civil litigation. And that's just something I think that more companies need to be aware is going to happen. And one thing I'd like to put out there, because we've had some of the artists for Sinopa who have other companies that owe them substantial amounts of money, including one of our guys who was named in a bankruptcy proceeding by a company last year, and they owed him thousands of dollars for past work done. Guys, if people aren't paying you, don't work for them.
Yeah, don't keep going. Don't.
You can make more money doing your own story. And if you don't have a story and you want to bring something to Kickstarter, I mean, good God, there's 2 writers in this chat right now that I know you can pay to write stories for you. And, just take it to Kickstarter and make some money. It's not that hard.
Amen. Well, let's see what the response is. In the days following the initial post by Lugin and others, we have confirmed that Scout has conversed with some of the creators who have taken issue with the company itself, was later described as quote-unquote missteps. On the evening of February 29th, Scout Comics posted an unsigned open letter to those concerned. What the hell is an unsigned open letter? They posted an open letter.
It means no one put their name on it.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay. Unsigned open letter to those concerned about the state of the company, and reposted it as replies to some of the public complaints about the company. So here we go. Quote, while Scout Comics, or Scout, has always strived to maintain levels of service to our teams, recently a creative team expressed their frustration publicly due to not having a response to their concerns in several months. This is true. Well, already we got a problem then, Scout. We dropped the ball by failing to respond in a timely manner. You did more than drop the ball. You intentionally ignored this guy. While we take full responsibility for our lack of response at that time due to internal miscommunication. That's a lot of word salad for
Right.
saying we didn't want to deal with dude. You know what I mean? Like fucking. Scout's letter says they will continue to strive to do better, right? And improve communication with all our creators. And says that very few creators have contacted them with concerns and attempts to contrast it by saying unnamed creators have reached out in support. Look, I don't buy that for a second. I think you probably have been reached out by a lot of creators. I mean, I know AP gets reached out by creators on a variety of different things, not necessarily always bad, but you need to communicate with these people. One of the feedbacks I had for AP was, in regards to communication, was having a point of contact, like, one central person that creators can go to with basic questions and, have a response within a 24 to 48 hour period. You know what I mean?
Maximum.
I think all companies needs to do that. Have a liaison that is in between the creators and the company.
Yeah.
Scout later, we'll do blah 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 blah. Scout then directs any Scout comic creator with concerns to email the company COO Lessa Miller. Now that they will be listened to and all inquiries will be responded to in a timely manner. Yeah, because you don't want this bad press. I bet.
I bet
You know what I mean? In the postings of the letter on Scout's Comics X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook pages, they specify choose to block any accounts from publicly replying. Gerard, who first brought the attention to Scout Comics issues, posted later that he has went public and they and Scout are close to working out terms to dissolve their publishing contract, and that the statements is something he believes is a part of that. Popverse will continue to update you on further developments surrounding Scout Comics. And there's no responses there. It's a shit deal. We've seen this time and time again. We saw a similar situation with Action Lab Comics, where they had held properties hostage and they had owed creators oodles of money. We've seen similar things happen with Aftershock Comics. Same sort of scenario. We were seeing some of these smaller publishers either drop out of the scene completely, just closing up shop, or running into problems that's going to lead to them dropping out completely and closing up shop. Any thoughts or response, Nita, that you have to the Scout comments? The response, if you will.
It sounds like bullshit. It sounds like, oh, we better cover our asses. We're going to respond promptly to these emails, but we still haven't contacted the creators. We owe money.
Yeah.
I'm sure those creators are intentionally avoiding because they don't want their money, right?
Right. That's it. They're not asking to get paid. You know what I mean?
It just sounds like bullshit.
Anyone else want to throw in their 2 cents? All right. So that's Scout Comics in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, comment, and ring the bell for notifications. And, there will be more clips like this from our live show coming soon. All right, guys, if you're wondering who today's video sponsor is, look no further. It is me, Austin. It is me all along. And I just like to talk about, people ask, I like to buy Nyobi. How do I get some pigtails in my life? Where do I get started? Do you have any sites? What can I do to get your books in my hands? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we're going to provide you that answer right meow. So here it goes, man. The first way you can do it, and probably the best way, is to my Shopify store. You can access that, nyobicomics.myshopify.com, or you can simply go to the YouTube channel where you're watching this video now, go to the main page and click on Store. There you will see Nyobi items up for grabs. Just click on one and proceed from there. Now, let's say you're an eBay buyer. You like eBay, use eBay? Well, we got you covered there. ebay.ca. USR, Nyobicomic. If you just type in Nyobi on eBay, you're going to find me. I got several listings there. And on eBay, typically you're going to find the harder to get variants, a little bit of our more expensive items, and harder to find back issues. So if collectibles are your thing, eBay is where you want to go for more Nyobi. Where else can you get Nyobi? Maybe eBay's too expensive for you. Maybe you read on a budget. Maybe you like having books on a tablet, on a phone, read them on your PC, whatever. So get Nyobi at Gumroad, nyobicomics.gumroad.com. It's great for those who read on digital. We got lots of great items there. You can buy them for $5 or less. Nyobi on digital, gumroad.com. Now, the other way you can get Nyobi is by going to your local comic book shop. Just the other day, Nyobi Birthright was released by Antarctic Press and in shops nationwide, worldwide. So go into your local comic shop, ask if they have any Nyobi. If they don't, ask them if they can order it. And if we happen to be in a time where we haven't released anything in a little while, maybe see if there's any Nyobi in those back issue bins. So Nyobi at your local comic book shop. But that's not all. You go to antarcticpress.myshopify.com. Antarctic Press, of course, is the label that publishes Nyobi. You can go ahead and buy Nyobi directly from them online as well. So go ahead and give Antarctic Press, give AP some love, and tell Ben Dunn I said hello. But that's not it, folks. Our major way to get Nyobi, our preferred way, honestly, when it comes right down to the end of it here, is you can get Nyobi on Kickstarter when we release them. We'll be doing Nyobi Outbreak number 3 in March. We'll have all the Nyobi goodies that you can shake a stick at, plus Savage Sim, plus Nyobi Penguina, plus more. Nyobi Kickstarter. Kickstarter is where our biggest fan base is. It's where we make the most amount of money. It is what we plug the most. All those other things I went over just a little while ago, those are great if you're looking to catch up. If you're looking to get the latest, greatest, the newest issue of Nyobi as it comes out, Kickstarter is the way to go. But with that being said, however you get Nyobi in your life, we appreciate it. Nyobi 2024 is going to be the year of the pigtail. We got so much lined up, man. It's going to be crazy. So thank you very much for tuning in to this video. Stay tuned for more videos. And just know, I'm always the sponsor, Austin.